ॐ वाङ् मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविराविर्मयेधि वेदस्य आणीस्थः श्रुतं मे मा प्रहासि अनेनाधीतेनाहोरात्रान् सन्दधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारमवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ Om. May my speech be accorded with the mind. May my mind be accorded with the speech. O self-effulgent one Brahman, reveal thyself to me. May you both, speech and mind, be the carriers of the highest truth to me. May not all that I have heard depart from me. May I be able to join day and night through this study with Brahman. I shall utter what is verbally true. I shall utter what is mentally true. May that Brahman protect me. May that Brahman protect the teacher. May that protect me. May that protect the teacher. Om. Peace, peace, peace be unto you all. Good morning. I shall start this morning with that famous verse from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityormaya mritangamaya. This is the prayer, and you know the meaning of it. Lead me from unreal to real. Lead me from darkness to light. Lead me from death to immortality. So this is not only the prayer of Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, not only the prayer of Indian people, it is the universal prayer. And it is a longing of all human beings who seek light, truth, and immortality. And Jesus comes as an answer to this deep longing, to this prayer. Let us take up the first one. We know it is the unfoldment of spiritual life. It is a journey. These three sections of this particular verse is the three steps of unfolding our spiritual life. It is a journey, and this is based on devotion. This is a prayer. Prayer must be connected with devotion. God is involved in it. Last Sunday, we had a talk on this, the unfoldment of our spiritual life. And there, we came to know that in Upanishad, we have another set of verse in Katha Upanishad in which our spiritual unfoldment takes place by our self-effort, and that is arise awake. Uttishtata jagrato prapya varan nibodhata. So that is the verse. Their self-effort is involved. But in this verse, God's grace, God is involved because it is a prayer. So the first section, and let us see how Lord Jesus comes as an answer to this deep longing. The first section is Asatoma Sadgamaya. Lead us from untruth to truth. So Sat is real. Real is always truth. So we can say either from unreal to real or from untruth to truth. What is this untruth to truth? If we try to understand this, that what is untruth to truth? Generally we know that we should not tell a lie. We should always speak the truth. So this is the proverbs. But how can a person travel from untruth to truth? So truth is a state here. It is not mere words. Truth is a state from untruth to truth, from one state to another state. It is a journey. And what Jesus says here? Jesus says, I am the truth. Jesus never says, I speak the truth. That is perhaps the first stage on the path of perfection. All of us are expected to speak the truth, but the destiny of all human beings is to become the truth. What does it mean by become the truth? In Jesus, we see a person who lived a life of truthfulness on three levels. Becoming truth affects in three levels of life, and we find it in the life of Jesus. What is the way to becoming truth? It is in three levels. And in Jesus' lives, we can find these three levels. He was a man who was honest to himself. The three levels are: one must be honest to himself. Second, one must be honest to others. And third, one must be honest to God. These are the three levels to becoming truth, from untruth to truth. These are the three stages, and we find in the life of Jesus, there's these three stages clearly manifested in Jesus' life. Let us see how it is. What does it mean by be honest to oneself? Jesus did not achieve anything in a material sense. Swamiji once said that in the world history, we remember those people who have renounced. There are thousands and thousands of king, emperor, who have accumulated huge wealth. We do not remember them, but we remember only a handful of people who have renounced. Take the example of Lord Buddha. Take the example of Lord Jesus. Only a handful of people who have renounced world remember them. So by the power of renounce, they are remembered by everybody. So the same thing happened. The standards of achievement that we set today are not the only standard. There are something. And Jesus sacrificed. Jesus used his life fully. What does it mean by Jesus used his life? In the beginning was the Word. Word was with God, and the Word was God. Of course, this Word is with Jesus. And that is why Jesus could say, "The Father and I are one." Later, Paul would say, his state was divine, but he emptied himself and became as men are given to accepting death on the cross. So this pouring out is the characteristics of incarnation. Jesus was incarnation. God becomes man by pouring out God himself. Indian philosophy also says the same truth. In Purusha Suktam, we see that God sacrifices himself in the altar of fire and becomes everything. So the more God pours out himself, sacrifices himself, and by steps, God becomes man. So every incarnation is God in the form of man by the process of sacrificing himself. The same thing happened here God sacrificed and became man as Jesus. So this sacrifice, even in the human form, Jesus sacrificed to redeem the sin of the humanity. Jesus gave all that he had. He lived that godliness to the full. That is, being the honest of oneself. Who can sacrifice? He is honest to oneself. Only in sacrifice we can find the honesty. We cannot find in accumulation of wealth honesty. Honesty, if I am honest to myself, I can renounce. That is the only litmus test of honesty. So I can renounce everything what I have. And Jesus did that. He was a man who was honest to himself, gave everything. That is why he is incarnation. Even as a human being, he renounced everything. He renounced his life. See the life of Lord Buddha. He was ready to renounce his life for a mere animal. So this is honesty to oneself. He was a man who was honest to others. He went out to others irrespective of whether they were sinner, they were saint, they were outcast, learned Pharisees, or whatever. His disciples were simple people, fishermen, tax collector, and even Judas, a dishonest person. He took them all with the hope that one day they would continue his mission. He did not judge people when confronted with obvious sinners. His only words were, "Go, sin no more." The honesty of Jesus was so intense that he could stare Pilate. His life was in the hand of Pilate. He stares in his eyes and say, "I have come to bear witness to the truth." So that is the honesty. He embraced everybody. He did not leave anybody else. Even the great enemy, his killer, Pilate, he also said he came to see the truth, witness the truth. See, the witness attitude at the same time wants to see the truth. So that is honesty to others. Believe and accept. He was a man who was honest to God. Everyone has a mission. God set that mission. And that mission, for the believer of this mission, is given by God. It is not that honest to God means to to follow a set of do's and don'ts. The commitment to the completion of mission is honest to God. And what is that mission? Sri Ramakrishna said that mission. God realization is the summum bonum of human life. That is our mission. What is the goal of human life? To accumulate wealth? Eat and merrymaking and die? So the mission of human life is the realization of God. See God face to face. Religion is a realization. And that is the honest to God. This commitment, this sincerity towards the life, the mission of life, is the honesty to God. His mission was so deep that he did not spare his own life. This is being honest to God. So when we say asatoma sadgamaya, lead us from untruth to truth, it means all these. It is a longing to be honest to oneself, honest to others, and honest to God. This is the truth, the Sat, truth, towards which all have to journey. It is the unfoldment. His commitment to the pilgrimage. This is a kind of pilgrimage, a journey to the pilgrimage. And his commitment to the pilgrimage was so intense that even in the face of death, he could say, "Not my will, but your will be done. And if it is your will that I should die on the cross, so be it." So he left himself completely on the hand of God. So that is truth. So lead us from untruth to truth. It means we should be truthful. It is a state. We should be truthful. We should be honest towards ourselves. And the litmus test of it is renunciation. We should be truthful to others. Love everybody, believe everybody, even to our enemy. Embrace everybody. Accept everybody. That is the honest towards others. And third, honest to God. The honesty to God is to be sincere, faithful on the mission of life. To pray God, we must be sincere in our journey to realize God. That is the faithful, sincere to God, honest to God. That is the honesty. So this is the first phase. And definitely we would have challenges to take this journey from untruth to truth. But Jesus showed us by his life, how a person can take this journey from untruth to truth. Asatoma sadgamaya. By becoming honest to oneself, becoming honest to others, becoming honest to God. Tamasoma jyotirgamaya. From darkness, lead me to the light. In common sense, in day-to-day life, we see light is essential for us. Even a plant, if you keep it in the darkness, it will just move towards light. Where there is darkness, there is fear. Ignorance is also called darkness. There is darkness deep within us. Sometimes we call it ego. Sometimes we call it ignorance. So this is the darkness within us. And as Jesus says, I am the truth, exactly in the same way Jesus said, I am the light. How does he become light? It is in the same. He did not see the light. He did not show us the light. He is light himself. How is that? It is just like a carbon glass. If carbon is precipitate on a glass, we cannot see the light through that glass. It is completely dark and black. So we are just like that. We have to remove this precipitate carbon, and then the light will shine. The enlightened person is one who has washed away the darkness of ego. Once all the carbon, the ego, is washed away, the real person starts shining like a light. It is in that light that the enlightened one sees the self, the world, and God. In our physical eyes, we can see everything, but we cannot see ourselves. We cannot see God. When the light sparks within, through that light we can see everything. This is light by which we see is not something from outside. It is not a torch that we hold in our hand and shine the light on things. That light has come from within. And that is what Jesus said. Enlightenment does not consist in understanding about things. Enlightenment consists in the seeker becoming that light which perceives the object. I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will not walk in darkness, but will have light of life. Jesus does not say that he would show the light. He says, I am light. Let us learn it from a candle. When a candle we can see by the light from outside. But when the candle is lit, then the candle shows us the way. So it is just like that. When we are not lit up, when we are not light within, when we don't have light within, then we need the external light. But when we have light within, then we can show the way to others and we can see our path also. So that is why he said that it is just like a candle, burn, just light within. John says, anyone who claims to be in the light but hates his brother is still in the dark. But anyone who loves his brother is living in the light. So, to becoming light is to love thy neighbor. Love everybody. Love is the light. To become light, we should love others. That is the way to life Jesus taught us. Tamasoma jyotirgamaya, from darkness to light. By loving others. That is the way we can light within by loving others. Asatoma tamasoma jyotirgamaya. Then we become lights. That is what Jesus too did. He spent himself for others. And because of that, he has become the light for us. So it is also a process, a journey to pilgrimage from darkness to light. Asatoma sadgamaya, tamasoma jyotirgamaya. These are the two steps. And then the last step is mrityurma amritangavaya. From death, lead me to immortality. What is death? It has also 3 steps. The first death, when we will become self-centered. That is the first death. When we will become jealous to others. This self-centeredness is the first death that we have. That is why Jesus posed that stupendous question, what does it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his own soul? It seems to be irrelevant in nowadays, but it is a challenge, it is a journey. That is our first step, self-centeredness. Second, when we want to get everything from this world, we cling to the world to enjoy everything, to have everything. That is the second death. Immortality doesn't mean who does not die physically, but one who has attained the state where physical death becomes immaterial, because such a person has transcended maternity. So doesn't mean, immortality doesn't mean not physical death. A person attains in such a state, for him or her, the physical death is very insignificant. That is called immortality. And Jesus had said, do not be afraid of those who kill the body and then cannot do anything else. Rather, fear those who kill the spirit. It is spiritual death. Spiritual death is the second death. And what is spiritual death? Spiritual death is clinging to the things of the world. Want more and more. That is spiritual death. That is the second death. And what is the third death? He himself was not afraid of death. That courage to face physical death came from a particular understanding of the life itself. He was of the opinion that unless the grain of wheat falls to the ground and dies, it will not yield 100-fold. That is the third death. Very important statement. If you broadcast grains to germinate paddy, then a few grains must die. Unless those grains die, the other paddy will not grow from the other grains. You have to consider that few grain will die. Exactly in the same way, if our ego will not die, if we will not die, if we do not take the second birth, our spiritual life will not start. The spiritual life means a kind of second birth. Take the example of Nachiketa in Katha Upanishad. What happened with Nachiketa? I hope that you all know the story of Katha Upanishad of Nachiketa. So when his father instructed him to go to Yama, the house of Yama, Nachiketa went. What does it mean? This is an allegory. What does it mean? It is a kind of paradigm shift from one state to another state. The death of one Nachiketa and the birth of another Nachiketa. And this is the spiritual shift. What is the meaning of resurrection? Exactly the death of one state and the birth of another state. The Son of Man died. The Son of God takes birth. So it is two states. In India, the Brahmin caste who are born in Brahmin family, in Sanskrit they are called Dvija. Dvija means taking birth two times. Why the Brahmins are called Dvija? Brahmins are called Dvija, it is because when they have the sacred thread ceremony, it is considered that they are taking a new life. They are born again. So first is the human birth, and the second phase is another spiritual birth. So this is, unless we are reborn again, our spiritual life will not start. So starting a spiritual life means taking another birth. So that is the third birth, death and birth. So there are three deaths. Mrityorma amritangamaya, lead us from death to immortality. First death, when we are self-centered, that is our first death. Second death is the spiritual death. When we cling to the worldly things, we want to acquire everything. We are completely connected with the spiritual world, worldly things, material world. So that is called the spiritual death. And third death is the death of ordinary consciousness and taking birth to the spiritual consciousness. So these are a journey, a movement from death to immortality. And that's why Jesus said, I am the resurrection and life. It is significant that Jesus said this just before he took his last journey to Jerusalem, where he died. And exactly in the same way, he said that I am immortal. So he takes the journey of immortality. It is that same grace of God that has propelled one to come here, leaving aside many other more interesting activities, that itself is the sign of God's presence among us. So these are the three phases of journey. That itself, the celebration of Christmas is not just a memorial of something and happened in the past. It is the reaffirmation of God's gracious presence in the human history, guiding that history in spite of all forces that act against it. And Jesus came to teach us this lesson, to take a journey in 3 phases towards God. Take another birth. It is a spiritual birth. To become one with God. So it is a great service. Son of God. It is a journey from Son of Man to Son of God. And that is the significance. That is why Jesus took birth, to show us the journey, Son of Man to Son of God. Today, Jesus is not only for the Christians, as this prayer is not restricted to Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, as this prayer is not restricted only among Indians. It is a universal prayer. Similarly, Jesus is not only for the Christians, He is for all. He seems to say that it is only when we transform ourselves, so much so when we die, that we rise a new life. And Jesus showed us. And through sacrifice, so truth in 3 phases: truth to ourselves, truth honest to others, and honest to God. Light to love others. Love is light. And when we can light ourselves, we can see ourselves, and we can show the path others. And lastly, taking a new birth of spirituality, to have another life. So these are the 3 phases that Jesus showed us through His life, and that is the significance of Christmas. Now let us read a small passage, Swamiji on Christ. What Swamiji said on Christ: the best commentary on the life of a great teacher is his own life. The foxes have holes, the birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man hath nowhere to lay his head. That is what Christ says as the only way to salvation. He lays down no other way. Let us confess in sackcloth and ashes that we cannot do that. We still have fondness for me and mine. We want property, money, wealth. Woe unto us. Let us confess and not put to shame that great teacher of humanity. He had no family ties. But do you think that that man had any physical ideas in him? Do you think that this mass of light, this God and not man, came down to earth to be the brother of animals? And yet, people make him preach all sorts of things. He had no sex ideas. He was a soul, nothing but a soul, just working a body for the good of humanity. And that was all his relation to the body. In the soul, there is no sex. In the disembodied soul, has no relationship to the animal, no relationship to the body. The ideal may be far away beyond us, but never mind. Keep to the ideal. Let us confess that it is our ideal, but we cannot approach it yet. He had no other occupation in life, no other thought except that one, that he was a spirit. He was a disembodied, unfettered, unbound spirit. And not only so, but he, with his marvelous vision, had found that every man and woman, whether Jew or Gentile, whether rich or poor, whether saint or sinner, was the embodiment of the same undying spirit as himself. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukhamapnuvat, Sarvastarotu Durgani, Sarvo Bhadrani Pashyatu, Sarva Sadbuddhimapnotu, Sarva Sarvatranandatu, Durjana Sajjano Bhuyat, Sajjana Shantimapnuat, Shantamuchyetya bandhebhyo, Muktaschanyan vimochayet. May all be happy. May all enjoy good health. May all see happy events. May all be freed from miseries. May all be freed from dangers. May all realize what is good. May all be actuated by noble thoughts. May all rejoice everywhere. May the wicked become virtuous. May the virtuous attain tranquility. May the tranquil be free from bondages. May the freed make others free. May the Supreme Spirit, the presiding deity of all sacred activities, be satisfied, for he being pleased, the whole universe feels satisfied. Peace, peace. Peace be unto you all. Here are a few announcements. We will have Christmas Eve program, obviously online, on 24th December at 7 p.m. PST. And we have a guest speaker. So obviously it will be a recorded program because we are unable to make the live program this year because of so many restrictions. And after that, from 25th, we will have our winter recess. So there will be no Sunday lecture after 24th. Again, we will have Sunday lecture on 17th January Sunday. So till 17th January there will be no Sunday lecture, there will be no Thursday lecture. But we have next Thursday lecture because our winter's recess will start from 25th. We have next Thursday class, evening class, but there will be no Sunday lecture. And there will be Holy Mother's birth anniversary special worship on 10th January at 3 p.m. Although we will continue the winter recess, but at the same time we will have Holy Mother Sarada Devi's birth anniversary celebration, the special worship. And we request you all to join online through our live streaming to watch the Holy Mother's special puja. It will be on 10th January, Sunday, at 3 p.m. Till then, my heartfelt good wishes to you all for this happy holiday session. And for the new year 2021, I pray to the Holy Trio that new year 2021 brings us the new news for the COVID-free world. So we shall open our Sunday service with all of you and Thursday class with all of you. I hope that we all return to the normal life again, not the new normal, but the regular normal. Till then, take care to stay safe. Again, thank you for this whole year that you have participated in all the lectures and classes, and always you remain touch base with us. I convey my thanks and gratitude for that, and I wish a very, very happy and good New Year. And special good wishes for Kalpataru Day, 1st January Kalpataru Day. Thank you.